Welcome back, everybody. Would you like the family to eat more vegetables or move to a more plant-based lifestyle? Well, then, Vegelicious is the perfect companion, and this is a debut cookbook from Chef Mokgadi Itsweng that celebrates the garden and its seasonal bounty with easy, affordable and delicious recipes. The book also focuses on indigenous ingredients such as sorghum, Ditloo or bambara nuts, millet, morogo, and how to make them delicious. We caught up with her at the Indigenous food shop in Linbro Park that's owned by fellow plant-based food and cooking enthusiast Chef Noni, where she regularly shops for the ingredients she uses for recipes she shares in this book. Let's now have a look at the conversation she had with Morning Live producer Ikhomotseng.
Chef Mokgadi, thank you so much for joining us on Morning Live.
Thank you so much, Ikhomotseng, for having me.
Let's get right into it. Veggielicious, how did it come about?
Oh, wow. It's a project that took me a couple of years to actually come out with. And you know, it's a cookbook that is plant-based. So trying to find a way to present a plant-based cookbook that actually talked to who I am and talked to us as South Africans was quite a feat for me. It didn't just come naturally. I had to literally think about it. So it took me a year and a bit, almost 2 years, to come up with the project. So for me, it was time. You know, it was one of those books. I got sick, and as a food editor, at the time I was working as a food editor for True Love. And when I got sick, I found that the only thing that worked was a change of diet. And the change of diet came as a plant-based diet. It's the only thing that I could eat without getting sick. So I had literally had food allergies and reactions to different kinds of food. Things that I was used to eating, things that I grew up eating, things that didn't give me problems, all of a sudden I couldn't eat anymore. So I knew that I had to change my diet. And when I did, a plant-based diet became the thing that healed my body. And I realized that there lies the power of food, and I had to write a book about it.
And if you were to explain what a plant-based diet is to someone who doesn't know,
yes,
how would you describe it?
Well, a lot of people think a plant-based diet is being a vegan. A plant-based diet is actually a diet that has predominantly plants. So if you're eating 90% or 80% of your plate is plants and then the rest is meat protein, you still are on a plant-based diet because the majority of the food or the things that are on your plate are plants. So that's what a plant-based diet is. So that includes vegetarianism, it includes veganism, obviously. It also includes flexitarianism, which is people who eat meat, like 90% of the time they're eating vegetables and they're eating a plant-based diet, but once in a while they'll have meat or they'll have fish on their plate. Those people are also on a plant-based diet. So our 7 colors, South African 7 colors plate, that's a plant-based, it's a plant-based diet. It's a plant-based dish or a plant-based, 7 colors is definitely a plant-based
because of the
plate.
vegetables that are on
the 7 colors are made out of vegetables. They're made out of vegetables and a little bit of meat. You'll have meat there and here and there, but the majority of the things on your plate are plants. So that's what a plant-based diet is.
And talk to us about the recipes that you've decided to include on your debut book.
Yes. So my one grandmother was a subsistence farmer, and she had like a little chemoko mamelodi where she grew all these amazing things, Ditloo, morogo, millies, beans, all sorts of things. And she would then sell those things, obviously after giving her children and her grandchildren all the harvest. She would then sell whatever was excess, and she had a lot of excess, so she made money that way. My other grandmother was a cook in Durban, at a hotel in Durban, and she's a Zulu lady who lived in Umlazi. And on Christmas, even in most holidays, would go visit her in Durban, and she would cook the most amazing, also vegetarian meals. So uponji sukari, she would make sampan beans. She would make like the most delicious curries, vegetable curries, cabbage. So I grew up eating a lot of that also. So when the inspiration came and I had to come up with a book and come up with easy recipes that I knew people would relate to, both my grandmothers actually came up, and I remembered eating Ditloo, I remembered eating morogo, and how she would make that, and that's how I created the recipes from memory mostly, but also from from my parents, from my mom. She would pass down some of the recipes, so I grew up eating all that. So all those recipes came because those are easy recipes that anyone can access. So I made sure that whatever was in the book is recipes that were easily accessible and easy to make.
Talk to us about the twists
Yes.
that you incorporate
Yes.
into your dishes.
So for me, ingredients, I love ingredients to tell their own story, and that's what I try to do with the book. So for instance, Ditloo or bambara nuts are indigenous to South Africa. I grew up eating them. My grandmother would just boil them in water, sometimes put them with maize or sorghum, and she would make what they call dikgobe. So I grew up eating a lot of that, and that for me is like a flavor that's like comforting food. But I also knew that Ditloo, because they taste like beans, I could make a hummus with them. I could make a burger. I could make a vegetarian burger with them. So I moved from just the traditional ways of cooking these ingredients, but also easy, fun, and ways that incorporate who we are now as South Africans. And if you're a person trying to eat more plants, why not play around? If you can make a burger out of Ditloo or out of beans, why not? So I try to create things that people can eat every day now. And so it's like a modern African in South Africa now.
And in the book, you have something for everyone. There's
Yes.
something sweet,
Yes.
there's something savory.
Yes.
Tell us about...
Oh, so I've got a sweet tooth. So obviously there has to be something sweet. So I've got quite a few recipes that are vegan. So there's no eggs in them, there's no milk, there's no butter. So they're plain vegan recipes. And I also have recipes that that take you out of your comfort zone a bit. So I've got a savory cheesecake in there that I know a lot of people will love. So it's like a cheesecake, but it's savory and it's delicious, made with mushrooms and topped with grapes. And then I also have, little nibbles. I like to nibble. I'm a nibbler. So I eat little things the whole day. So people like me who love nibbles, I also have a lot of that. And then I've got main meals, which are stuff that will fill you up. That's vegetarian and it's vegan, but it's yummy and it's filling. So we've got delicious salads in there. I've got salads using sorghum, which is one of my absolute favorite grains, which is the salad I'm going to make for you. Because what that does is it just shows you what you can do with the ingredients, but also just push it further to make it into proper meals that you can make at home. So,
And for someone that wants to adopt this plant-forward
Yes.
diet or cooking, where do they begin?
Well, you begin by getting the book. The book is really a guide, It shows you, because the thing about about being plant-based is that it's a consciousness that you need to move towards. It's a lifestyle, it's a way of life. So you need to know how to grow your own vegetables. Growing your own vegetables, what it does is just wakes you up and brings consciousness into your being, into your everyday. Because then you know how to grow your vegetables. You know that if I'm growing morogo or if this tepe takes this long to grow, when I cook it, how can I cook it to get the maximum out of it? So growing your own vegetable becomes a conscious thing. Then next you need to understand how to run a wasteless kitchen at home, because again, it's another consciousness that you need to get to as a human being. Because waste is a big thing in our communities. It's especially waste that's coming from home use. And then obviously then the recipes will guide you. And in the book I also tell you what to buy. So your pantry needs to be up to date. You need to make sure you've got all your dry beans, your dry goods, the sorghums. You need to create your own spice mixes that you use for your cooking, for all your cooking. Also very simple stuff, very simple recipes. To create these spice mixes. So because a lot of the spice mixes I found when I started getting sick, I couldn't eat because they had all these, it's laced with mang, all those funny names on the ingredients that you can't even pronounce. I found that a lot of those actually affect you as a human. So that was one of the other things that was triggering my reaction to food. So I started creating my own spice mixes. In the book, there's some spice mixes for you, there's sauces, there's basically the book is your toolkit to create amazing dishes at home, amazing anything that's plant-based. Which is why, for me, I made sure that the recipes are indigenous ingredients and indigenous produce that you can find or at any supermarket, but mostly, especially morogo and stuff, the tepes and stuff, you find them at taxi ranks, you find them anywhere where there's a community of black people, you'll find the ingredients. It's just people never know how to access that. So which is why the store for me is always like a candy shop because you find everything and very well priced. You'll find bambara nuts or Ditloo for like next to nothing, exactly the way our grandmothers ate them, and how it didn't cost them a lot of money to live like this.
Tell us about your relationship, Limme Dora Sithole.
Okay. Well, Mom Dora was really my mom. She was my industry mom, and she was my mentor. She was a friend. So I literally bounced everything off her. When I, for years she was trying to get me to write a book. Even when I was at True Love as the food editor, and I just wasn't ready. I just had nothing to say, and I said to her, "I've got nothing to say. I don't want to talk about African food. You've already done it. You've done such an incredible job as Mom Dora, and I don't know how I can replicate or even surpass what you've done. But I want my book or whatever I come up with, it needs to be something that's as authentic as her books were." So I knew that I needed to go through a journey, a food journey that I could then tell and also translate into a book. And when I got sick, that became my journey. I didn't know it at the time. It's only afterwards when I went through what I went through, and when I was on the other side, and now I was more plant-based and I was eating, and I was like, but something has shifted in me. And she's the person that I spoke to about that, about my journey. And she would be like, and when I was ready, she found me a publisher. So she was that important in my life. And her publisher, the NB Publishers, they published my book. They also published her book. So she then linked me to the perfect publisher who helped me to birth this book. So she was instrumental in my life in so many ways. She was my mom, my mentor, my friend, my everything, really.
Your book is part of the exclusive books seasons readings.
Yes.
So just talk to us about some of the recipes from the book that people can make for like Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got incredible recipes in that book. My favorites, I've got all the recipes in there, my favorites. But I love the sorghum salad, which is one, if you're going for a Christmas lunch like I do normally, we have a potluck, so everybody in the family brings something to the table. So the sorghum salad is always there. It's easy to make. It also packs so much flavor and vegetables in there, and you can really play around with the flavors in there. I like to add fruits in there. I like to add dried fruits. I like to add nuts. All sorts of deliciousness into that salad. And it's easy, you can put it in a jar and take it with, so it travels very well. So the sorghum salad is one. And another one that's like, it looks amazing, amazing, amazing. It's the butternut Wellington, which is, Wellington, as you know, it's like a pastry, got a pastry around it. So it's the butternut with morojos and cranberries and nuts stuffed in there and then wrapped in pastry. Delicious, delicious. Always looks amazing on the table. People always think, oh my God, what is that? And then you cut it, it looks beautiful, and it tastes amazing. Even people who love meat are always too happy to have that on their plate. And it looks amazing. And it's easy to make. So that one. And then the desserts, I love the chocolate cake, which is a vegan chocolate cake with a ganache, with a coconut ganache. All vegan. Beautiful, and normally on Christmas is my son's birthday, so we always bring that. That always is our our dessert. It always becomes the main dessert because it tastes amazing and it looks beautiful. And we always, accompany it with fresh fruits or a fruit salad or strawberries or whatever, whatever is in season. We'll serve with that cake. There's so many things in that book, but yeah, those are my favorites that I always make sure I have, especially now in the summer.
In the summer. Thank you so much, Chef Mokgadi. Congratulations on your debut book.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for chatting about my book. Thank you.
That was Morning Live producer there, in conversation with Chef Mokgadi Itsweng on this Christmas morning. All right, here's